the coordinate plane, as we talk about it, is well, I can't draw a straight line today. All right, now, basically the coordinate plane is made up of two number lines, okay, a vertical one and a horizontal one. The vertical number line is called the y-axis. The horizontal number line called the x-axis. Okay. As we look at the two, the y-axis and the x-axis, the ones here are the ones going up on your vertical axis are positive numbers. The ones going down are negative numbers. Okay. Where the two lines intersect is called the origin. Where the vertical axis and the horizontal axis intersect each other is called the origin. Now, on the left side of the x-axis is the negative numbers. On the left side, or excuse me, on the right side of the x-axis are your positive numbers. Okay. So all the points in here, all the coordinates in this section are both positive. Okay. What I mean by that is this. If I take a point and I put it right here, okay, that point has two coordinates. It's where it crosses the x-axis and where it crosses the y-axis. We call this the ordered pair. Okay, the ordered pair is the x and y coordinates of a given point. Okay, you need to write that down. The ordered pair is the x and y coordinates of a given point. So as we look at the point that I just put on there, as we look to where it crosses the x-axis and where it crosses the y-axis, okay, where it crosses the x-axis is at 3. That coordinate is always listed first. Where it crosses the y-axis is 3. That number is always listed second in the ordered pair. So this is your x and that's your y coordinate. Okay, so if they tell you that they want the coordinates of the given point or they want the ordered pair of the given point, that's what you're going to do. You're going to see where the point crosses the x-axis, where the point crosses the y-axis, and then you're going to put those two numbers. So let's look at another one on another part. Let's say we were right here. Okay, we'll call this point B. Okay, they want to know the coordinates of point B, or they want to know the ordered pair that make up point B. Okay, well, to do that, we must see where it crosses the y-axis, crosses the y-axis at 2, crosses the x-axis at -6. Okay, so the coordinates then, -6 and 2. That would be the coordinates of point B. Okay, well, let's say I gave you these coordinates. Let's say I gave you the coordinates -5 and -3. I gave you those coordinates, and I told you to graph those coordinates. Okay, well, -5 and -3, we would start at 0 right here. The x is first, so we go out here to -5. Okay, so I can't, in other words, I'm right here at -5. Now, -3 is down. 1, 2, 3. So there's the point right there. That is point C. -5 and -3. So I started at 0. I went to the left 5 units because -5. And I went down 3 units because of -3. Okay? Now, if I had a point over here, let's say I had point D here, and I want to know the coordinates of point D. What would be the x-coordinate of point D, Haley Perez? Okay, the x-coordinate is 5. It goes first. Then what's the y-coordinate, Anthony, of point D? D is in dog. In other words, this point right here, where does it cross the y-axis? At what coordinate? Copeland, help him out. -4. So we have 5 and -4 is the coordinates or the ordered pair of point D. Okay? Now, your quadrants have numbers. This is quadrant 1. This is quadrant 2. Quadrant 3. Quadrant 4. Quadrant 1, Quadrant 2, Quadrant 3, Quadrant 4. You will notice that they go counterclockwise, backwards on a clock. Okay? So they may ask you, okay, what quadrant does point C fall in? So you'd look on the graph, find point C, what quadrant does it fall in? 3. Okay, so this is quadrant 1, and quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. So it falls in quadrant 3. Point C right here falls in quadrant 3. Okay, so if they ask you to graph it and tell them what quadrant it falls in, that's what you would do. Okay? So you might even put the 3 over here underneath, if that was the original problem. All right, so the x number or the x coordinate always goes first. The y coordinate always goes second. That's why it's called the ordered pair, not the disordered pair or not the random pair. It's called ordered. It means it goes in order. X comes before y in the alphabet. Therefore, x coordinate comes before y coordinate. Okay? All right. Let's look at another one. All right. Now, I understand that we put our points where the two things intersect each other, like that right there, where the two lines intersect each other, so the point goes right there. That's why we have the graph lines. That's why, a lot of times you'll use graph paper on this. Okay? So make sure that you understand. So if I had, let's say I had the coordinates -2 and 3. Had the coordinates -2 and 3, and they're calling this point A. Okay, well, I'd start right here at 0, and I'd move to the left -2. So 1, 2. So there's -2, and I would go up or down for 3. Up, because it's positive. So 1, 2, 3. So that is point A with the coordinates -2 and a +3. Okay, I started at 0, went to the X, then went to the Y. So if I had this, 4 and -6, and we're calling that point B. Well, 4 and -6 would be start here. Start here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go down -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that would be point B. Huh? Yeah, I'm not putting the numbers on mine because I want you to understand that we started with the problem first and then I plotted the problem. Now, yes, on your work that you do, you would need to put the numbers, the coordinates underneath it. Okay, so what quadrant does point A fall in? Joshua? Yes, quadrant 2. Okay, which one does B fall in? Nicole? Quadrant 4. Yes, quadrant 4. All right. So that's how you figure the quadrants. That's how you graph the point. Okay, we graphed these points. Okay. All right, now. If you have this, let's say we had point 0, 5, and they're calling this point C. Okay, well 0, 5, we start at the origin, and that is 0. Okay, so the X is 0, the Y, I need to go up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be point C. Now, point C, okay, point C falls on the Y-axis. Where this was quadrant 2, this was quadrant 4, point C falls on the Y-axis. It does not fall in a quadrant. Okay, because it's got to be off of the X or the Y-axis. So, then what would the coordinates, what would be the coordinates of point D? What would be the coordinates of point D? Nicole? What would be the coordinates? -6 and -6? Okay, why don't we pay more attention to me and less attention to coloring your little pencil bag? Joshua? No. What? No. Negative 6 and 0. X always comes first. Is it on 8? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is on 8. That's hard to count. Negative 8 and 0. That's what that point is at. And that falls on the x-axis. It does not have a quadrant. It just falls on the x-axis. Okay, so if it falls on one of the axis, then you have to put that axis. If it's above or below it, then obviously you are in a quadrant. Also understand that you can have, for example, I can have the coordinates of 4.5 and 6.5. Okay, it doesn't have to be whole numbers. So if you have 4.5, you have over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half, which is right here, and then you go up 6.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. So that would be your point. We'll call it point E. That's point E. 4.5, 6.5. Okay, Nicole, if you can't handle it, then just go outside and sit in the hall. Okay, because I can't have you interrupting the other 10 people because you're having issues. Well, it's probably Gracie. She's the only person behind you. Unlike Miss Dawkins, I'm not going to lecture you. I'm just going to give you a ton of homework. So, if you want to act up and do all your little giggling and all that stuff, that's fine. You can do that. You'll just have 100 problems this weekend for homework. It's your choice. Because all the lecturing for me is done with y'all. There won't be any lecturing. There'll be the people that are acting up and giggling and stuff like that will have 100 problems while the other ones have 20. And that little brain of yours will kick in and go, I probably don't need to do that in Coach Smith's class because he's not going to lecture me and just, talk. He's going to actually do something about it. So that's how you graph those points. That's how you tell whether it's on a coordinate, whether it's on a quadrant or an axis. Okay? If it's on an axis, it does not have a quadrant number. It has an axis. If it's off of the axis, then it does have a quadrant number, or it does have a quadrant. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay. What? You have a question? What?
On B, I don't get how it's -8. Can we maybe -6? No, we can't.
No, because there's 8 lines. You go out 8 lines. Here's 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's -8. Joshua?
So, if you have 0, and then, say, you have 0 and then -4, would you put -4 first?
No. If you have 0, -4, here's 0. So I'm at that point. I'm at that coordinate. -4, you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, and so the point falls on the y-axis. So anytime the first number is 0, it's going to fall on the y-axis. Anytime the second number is 0, it will fall on the x-axis. Okay? So you could have, this will have basically any number and 0. Okay? This up here will have 0 and any number. Okay, that's how you can tell whether it's on the y-axis or the x-axis. Okay, any other questions? Okay, your homework is this, and like I said, it's due Monday, but we're going to go ahead and start working on it now. You have 1.8, 1 through 6, eight through 24, and 35 through 44. On 17 through 24, actually 3 through 6 and 17 through 24, you must plot the point as part of your answer. Okay, so you just need to draw your little, graph and do it. We're not going to have graph paper just for this one little assignment. Okay, so I want you to either do one of two things. You can either go over problems from your homework that you missed from sections 1 through 7 for the test tomorrow, or you can start working on the 1.8 homework that's due on Monday. Is that one of those two things? Okay. Okay, so get to work on one of those two things.